In this video, we will show you how to replace your rear window regulator with motor assembly on this Honda Civic. This will be located inside of your rear door. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing we want to do is have the door in the open position. We're going to start removing the area that houses our window switch. To do this, I'm just using a small pocket screwdriver, and if you are looking along the edge here, I'm going to make my way all the way over towards this edge, and we should be able to gently pry this up. Now along this outboard side here, or what would be the rearward side I guess you'd say, you want to carefully start pulling it out. It has a small locating tab that tucks in and behind the armrest. Let's go ahead and turn this over so we can have a look along the inboard side. Now for this, it has a locking tab. You just want to go ahead and press that in. You can use your finger or just continue with a small pocket screwdriver if you'd like. We're just going to go ahead and press that in and pull this out of place. A quick inspection of that wiring harness. You can set that aside. Now just behind that area, we're going to find that we have a Phillips head mounting screw holding the door panel to the door. Let's remove that now. Let's move up from there to the inside door handle. There's a small trap door. We're going to have to dislodge that. Right up along the top, you're going to find that you have a locking tab. You can use a pocket screwdriver to gently pull down on that. We'll pull this out of place. Just using an angled pick. There's that locking tab right there. Set that aside. That exposes our Phillips head screw behind this area. We're going to use a plastic trim tool to separate the trim panel from the door itself. You just want to try to get in between that area. We'll gently start pulling it away, starting down along the bottom. As we make our way up towards the top, we'll have to start lifting up. But keep in mind, there are still cables leading to that inside door handle. There we are. Okay, let's start lifting this up. Now as we start pulling this away, I'm going to take the door handle off of the door panel. To do that, you're going to find that you have 4 locking tabs. You can use your small pocket screwdriver or trim tool, whatever you want. Go ahead and start pressing those locking tabs away. There's one on each corner here. Okay. The last one should just roll out of place. Let's set that door panel aside. Now we're going to be paying attention to that vapor barrier. We're going to have to dislodge most of this. For this, along the outside corner, there's just a small tab. We're going to pull that out of place. A quick inspection here. I'm not going to pull down on this yet. Let's continue on to our electrical connector down in this area. I'm using a small pocket screwdriver for the locking tab up along the top. Just go ahead and press that in. From here, we're going to start dislodging the wiring harness from this area. I'm using a trim tool. You can use pretty much anything as a prying device. Now we can start pulling this out and away. As we start pulling down on the vapor barrier, pay attention to all of this making its way around. That's the adhesive. It is very sticky and you don't want to get it on your clothing. Just peel this away. We'll put it in a safe area for now. You don't have to fully remove it. Now with that vapor barrier pulled away, we can see this portion of our window regulator making its way down inside the door. We can't remove it yet. We still have to dislodge the window glass. To do that, let's go ahead and reconnect our window switch. I'm just going to plug that right in. Listen for a click from that. Continuing on, you want to have the key in the on position, and we're going to start powering the window down. When doing so, make sure that there's nothing inside of this area that could potentially get damaged or hurt. Other than that, we're going to bring it down low enough that we can gain access through this circular port here and right along this area for our 2 pieces of mounting hardware. I've got the key in the on position. Let's start powering the window down to the proper position. There we are. Go ahead and turn off key power and disconnect your window switch. If you find that you can't power this window regulator down, you could carefully have somebody holding the window up for you and cut your cable. Then you can bring this down to the proper level to remove your mounting bolts. Now at this point, we can see both of our mounting bolts. One of them's inside this port here, the other one's right there. We have some tape, so once we do have those removed, we can lift the window into the upright position and we're going to hold it there. Now I'm going to carefully start lifting this up. I have a second person that's going to hold it for me while I continue on with the tape, making its way up and over the window. Nice and easy here. There we are. Now we're holding light pressure. Several strips of tape. Tape's a lot cheaper than glass. There we are. Now there's going to be 4 pieces of mounting hardware to dislodge. We're going to start all the way up at the top at our mounting nut. We're using a 10mm for each of these. As far as the upper mounting nut, go ahead and fully remove it. A quick inspection, start it back in a couple threads. Make our way all the way down to the bottom. We have our final 3 pieces of mounting hardware here. Keep in mind, after we remove these, we will still have to disconnect an electrical connector. In this area, we have a small plastic hook, which is part of that window regulator. It just slides into the door. So I'm going to reach inside the door, take hold of the window regulator, slide it towards the right, bring that in there. Now we're all the way up at the top. We can finish removing that mounting nut. I'm holding onto the window regulator inside of the door here. There's that. Now we can start pulling the window regulator out and away, removing the stud from the door. Should be able to slide in there. Just a slight flex. As for the bottom, we're going to pivot it towards this port here so we can disconnect our electrical connector. Just be careful over here. Right up along the top area is where that electrical connector locking tab is. Go ahead and disconnect that, a quick inspection for corrosion. And we should be able to pivot this. It can get hung up on that stud. Slide it out of there. There it is, friend. Okay, friend, let's prepare for installation of our window regulator. Start bringing it down through this port here. Let's swing the top up into the proper mounting area here. We don't have to worry about the stud along the top of this window regulator, so we're just going to align the mounting bolts port. Once you do have that aligned, go ahead and start in your 10mm headed mounting bolt. We're just going to start it in by hand, but leave it loose. Okay. We can pivot this around as necessary. Let's continue on down at the bottom. Once again, aligning our mounting bolt ports, start them in, and then we can snug all of these mounting bolts. Double check, make sure that's properly secured in place. It's time for the electrical connector. Let's press it in, listen for a click from that. A light tug, confirming it's properly secured. Once you have that connected, let's make sure that we take up any slack here so nothing gets caught. I'm just going to use a wire tie. We'll attach this to this area. Just trim off the excess. We'll dispose of that properly. Now the next thing you need to do is put the key in the on position. We're going to power the window regulator into an area that we can gain access to the mounting points. I'm going to bring this all the way up into this area so I can install both of my mounting bolts after I've lowered the window down into the proper position. There we are. Turn off key power. I'm going to hold pressure on the window here while I finish removing the tape, and then we can lower this window down into its proper position. Be extremely careful for any pinch points as you continue on with making your proper alignment. Slide that down. Now let's get our next one in there. If you try to come through here, you might find that you drop it down inside the door. So I'm just going to reach inside of the door and we'll start it in this position. There we go. All right, let's snug them up. Just carefully reach inside this area, make sure everything's secured properly. Now the next thing we're going to do is prepare to test the functionality. A couple things about this. We need to have the key in the on position with the window switch attached. Before we start powering this down, keep in mind, as a safety issue, you want to make sure nothing's inside of here that could get damaged, or you could potentially get hurt, of course, so we want to be extremely careful. Let's go ahead and power this down. All the way up. Perfect. Go ahead and remove key power. Now it's time for the weather barrier, but of course we do want to make sure that we have our electrical connector making its way through the port here. So let's just go ahead and start bringing that up. Something to think about is that when we're installing the door panel, this is going to come loose because we have to pull the cables away. So you don't really need to put that up, but let's continue on up along here, making our way to the far corner. We're going to install our plug up in this area. It's going to hold it in position for us. We'll just make sure it's aligned. Plug on there. Let's continue on. Just try to align everything as necessary, pressing it into its original position. Let's get this on here. Just gonna line that up, press it in. Make our way all the way across. Electrical connector next. Press that in, a little wiggle. Make sure everything's secure. Let's make sure that our handle's in the proper placement. That's going to go with the hooks into these two ports on the door itself. Just go ahead and line it up, slide it over. Now let's go ahead and focus on that door panel itself. Up along the top where I'm holding on to, we have this hooked area that will slide over the edge of the door. And also, as you make your way all the way around the door panel itself, you're going to find that you have several adapters or clips that are going to press into their circular ports on the door itself. Let's start bringing this in. You also want to pay attention to your window wiring harness. You don't really have to worry too much about it. Just make sure it is accessible through the port in the door panel. Now, as we start bringing this over, I'm also paying attention to my vapor barrier. I like to have this pressed up on here at this point. Let's start coming up nice and high. I'm going to bring that hooked area of the door panel over the door lip. And now we can start aligning this and pressing it in. We're also paying attention all the way around the door panel itself for those clips, aligning them with their ports. Let's tap this in. Okay. Now, before I continue too much further with that, let's also just make sure that we still have our wiring harness in the area that we can gain access. Double check up along the inside door handle. We want to make sure this is aligned. I'm going to tap this in now. The door handle did have those 4 clips around it holding it to the door panel. We just want to make sure that that does not move around. As you can tell, that's perfectly latched in. Let's just double check the rest of the door panel. Now right inside this area, we're going to install our mounting screw. Let's get that in position. Start it in, snug it up. Keep in mind you are only screwing into plastic here. You don't need to over tighten it. Let's continue on with our window switch. Just go ahead and align that electrical connector. We'll press it in, listen for a click. A light tug confirming that's secured. You don't want that falling out while you're driving down the road. As we slide this panel into position, we want to pay attention close to the armrest. This has to be properly aligned. Just going to go ahead and slide it right in behind here. Roll it down into position. Once it looks like it's aligned, press it in. Let's move up to the screw for the door handle here. It's the smaller of the two. Try to straighten that out here. There we are. Install your protective panel. We have our little locking tab up along the top there. So we're just going to roll this in from the bottom first. Press it in. Okay, friend, we finished our installation. The next thing you need to do is go ahead and put the key in the on position and test the functionality. Perfect. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.